This upcoming weekend is another Saturday night's main event, so we're going to go ahead and try and predict each match that is currently scheduled on the night. It's the second Saturday night's main event during this current run in the WWE. And of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Welcome back to the J Area, a place for pro wrestling fans by a pro wrestling fan. And there's been a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation during the month of January. Obviously, we had the first ever Raw on Netflix, SmackDown going to 3 hours, the Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania season all upon us. But we're talking about Saturday night's main event. Currently, 4 matches are on the card, so let's go ahead and let's just jump right into it. The very first matchup we're going to discuss is for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley, who recently won back the championship that she never lost, defeating Liv Morgan on the debut episode of Raw on Netflix, will be defending that title against Nia Jax, someone who was recently the women's champion over on SmackDown, but now is going after Rhea Ripley and her title. Now, first and foremost, I think it's a little bit odd that Nia Jax is going straight to another world championship and doesn't bother really retaliating against Tiffany Stratton. We spend a lot of time, a lot of equity building up that relationship between Nia Jax, between Tiffany Stratton, all for it just to kind of evaporate, and now we're moving on to Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. This is a clear circumstance of just moving one piece to another. I think the result is very predictable. Rhea Ripley defeats Nia Jax just as an opportunity to keep the title relevant, to keep the heat on Nia, and to continue elevating Rhea Ripley for whatever program she is destined for at WrestleMania 41. Will it be a show stealer? Probably not, but I do think it's safe to say that Rhea Ripley emerges victorious, defeats Nia Jax as she makes her way into the Royal Rumble match this year. Speaking of monsters, we have 2 monsters going head-to-head from Friday Night SmackDown, where Braun Strowman takes on Jacob Fatu. I believe this is Jacob Fatu's second one-on-one matchup, obviously his first being against Jey Uso, so this is a matchup I'm really looking forward to. We don't really get to see a lot of Jacob in singles action. He's predominantly in tag team matches alongside Solo's Bloodline, but him against Braun Strowman should be a monumental matchup. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking for how we're going to elevate Jacob Fatu even further, because that promo on SmackDown the other week really put everyone on notice that, one, Jacob Fatu isn't one to mess with, but also he is a serious threat to the main event scene. Now, Braun Strowman has relatively, as of late, been used as the guy who not only provides entertainment, but kind of elevates other people. I mean, you saw most recently with Bronson Reed. I feel like that feud really elevated and benefited Bronson Reed, albeit that he lost the last Monster Standing matchup. But I don't see that being the case. Jacob Fatu is someone that I think a lot of the fans and a lot of the people behind the scenes look highly upon. I think Jacob Fatu wins this matchup in convincing fashion, continuing his tread to the top, and pretty soon, believe it or not, I do think Jacob Fatu will be a world champion. But for the case of Saturday night's main event, he's going to conquer a former Universal Champion in Braun Strowman moving forward, and then we're going to have to wait and see what's next for the Samoan Werewolf. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but if you're anything like me and can't get enough wrestling content, then you should consider becoming a member here on YouTube. You'll receive access to exclusive content like unique videos, live streams, shorts, and a more behind-the-scenes look of the channel itself. On top of that, once you become a member here on YouTube, you will receive priority first replies in the comments, as well as special shoutouts in future uploads. And speaking of future uploads, you'll also be able to get to decide what will be the future topics in these future videos. You can join the J Area and become a member here by clicking on the link in the description, as well as in the link under the About Me section. This is your big opportunity to see the J Area like no one else. We can't thank you enough for the continued support and the continued growth in the channel, so we don't want you to miss out on this exclusive offer. Now, let's get back to the video. Next up, we have the matchup that I'm really looking forward to the most. I think this is going to be the matchup that's going to steal the show. It's going to be the highlight of the night. 2 bruisers. I mean, we're talking the Intercontinental Championship being defended. It's going to be Braun Breaker, the champion, versus Sheamus, the challenger. It's a story as old as time. Sheamus having won every single championship available in the WWE minus the Intercontinental Championship. Will he be able to do it? It's been something they've been hyping up for the last part of 3 years. I do like the prospect of seeing Braun Breaker versus Sheamus, and because of the buildup, because of the anticipation, if Sheamus does not win here, I think it's going to be another extended period of time before we see him win this championship gold. He's been in and out of the IC title scene for several months now, but being at a Saturday night's main event and being that it's a premiere show, on NBC and Peacock, I feel like there's always at least one championship that should be changing hands. Will it change hands? That is for you and I to see later on Saturday night. But in regards to my predictions, hey man, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to pick Sheamus. I think Sheamus gets it done. I think he defeats Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's title reign kind of left a little bit to be desired. I will say there was a lot of potential there. His first title reign was fun. The second title reign was kind of an afterthought. But I look at this matchup and I see Sheamus is on the cusp of winning the Ultimate Grand Slam Championship, winning every single title that is available. Could they have waited till WrestleMania? Yeah, they definitely could have. But I do think that the WWE is at a point in their, success that every show, every big show like the Saturday Night's main events or the premium live events, something big, at least one title change is going to happen. I think it happens here. I think Sheamus wins the championship and finally is crowned the Grand Slam champion. And finally, in terms of championships, there's nothing bigger than one of the World Heavyweight Championships. Gunther defends the title against main event Jey Uso. I think they've done a great job in recent weeks trying to push this feud. It was a kind of little last second type of reveal when it came to Jey Uso, challenging Gunther for the world title. But I do think it all pans out, and I think it works out in their favor. Gunther has been a tremendous asset to the WWE, whether it was during his NXT UK days, the NXT days, his IC title reign. The World Championship, I will say, kind of feels like a step down from the IC title run, but that does not stop Gunther from having quality matchups against all the challengers that he's had in his path. I think he takes another one out of Jey Uso here. I love Jey Uso, big fan of his work, the persona, the character work, the gimmick itself. Jey Uso is one of the most entertaining parts of Monday Night Raw, part of WWE. But I love when Jey Uso manages to become a little bit serious, dives into the deeper feeling of who Jey really is. He talks about, being one half of one of the best tag teams of all time, but being seen as a twin. I always go back to that line where he says that they became so popular, but it was always, which one are you? And now Jey and Jimmy, they've managed to carve out a spot for them in the roster, develop themselves into the stars that they are. I think Jey Uso has a great match against Gunther. I still think the IC title match probably would be the best. But in terms of emotion, in terms of investment, it's very difficult to not see this matchup be a prime spot, especially early on in the WWE. But with that being said, we know Jey Uso has already declared for the Royal Rumble. I can't see him winning the World Championship. Not yet, at least. I feel like if he does eventually win the world title, it'll happen on a show like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, some major premium live event like that. But I don't think Gunther's title reign is over by any means. I still hold true to my prediction that at WrestleMania 41, that's probably when we're going to see him lose the title. If not then, at SummerSlam, I think would be the most ideal and most likely route for Gunther to lose that title. But for the case of Saturday night's main event, Gunther goes over, he retains, he continues his title run as the World Heavyweight Champion, and we'll wait and see where Jey Uso ends up in the Royal Rumble and what WrestleMania has in store for main event Jey. Although that's all the matches that are currently lined up for Saturday night's main event, how could I not talk about the interaction, the face-off between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens ahead of their WWE Championship ladder match at the Royal Rumble? And we know that San Antonio's own Shawn Michaels will be making an appearance. Everyone knows he's my favorite pro wrestler. So anytime we see Shawn Michaels involved on TV in some capacity, I'm already there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's a great face-off. I don't think we're going to see any physicality. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of an addendum to the contract that Nick Aldis has already set in place. I think we're going to get a lot of references to WrestleMania 10, that ladder match that had 2 titles on the line. Kevin and Cody, consummate professionals. It should be a great showing. Where does it fall on the card? Probably during that second hour, leading into the final hour of Saturday night's main event. But regardless, it should be a great show. Looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's a step up from the original Saturday night's main event last December. I thought that was a good show, but it kind of left a lot for me to be desired because everything was kind of predictable and it was the safe route. So I do think the only major shocking change here on the show will be the Intercontinental Championship. I'm predicting a Sheamus victory. But hey, I want to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what are some of your predictions for Saturday night's main event. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the pro wrestling content that we produce here, such as the podcast, the live streams, as well as becoming a member of the Main Event Mafia, where you're going to get exclusive content that not everybody else sees. Of course, with that being said, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you for joining me on today's video, and I will see you all in the next one.